One of those iconic buildings in New York, the New York Times. It was built on land that was owned by other people, but the owners of the New York Times and the developer really wanted it, so the city and state came along and used eminent domain to acquire some of the last remaining parcels of this land. But it's really a beautiful building. All the other buildings around here are poised to either be developed or are developed. Now we're very close to 42nd and 8th Avenue. View of some of the buildings around here. It's very nice seeing all these buildings. Now, these other buildings that we just saw, I'm sure there's someone eyeing them for development, and the owners are probably very nervous also of these buildings, because someone's going to come along, just like what they did with the New York Times, and say, you know what, we're going to take these buildings from you and we're going to pay you a certain price, and this is the price you're going to get. That's what happened before with eminent domain for the New York Times, and the owners were really upset because they wanted to keep their buildings. And I'm sure someone is gathering up these parcels and these other buildings here too to potentially put up a much larger building. Here's a closer look at the New York Times building. It just goes up and up and up. Half of it is owned by the New York Times. The other half is owned by the developer that helped put this up. They weren't sure if it was going to be a success or not. And the developer didn't have a tenant for his 50%, but the other 50% was owned by the New York Times, and that was sufficient for the developer to have confidence that it would work. Now what happened too, Carlos Slim, one of the wealthiest men in the world, had loaned the New York Times some money. And when he loaned the New York Times some money during the difficult times, he took a number of the floors as collateral. So I don't know what the situation is now, but Carlos Slim, one of the wealthiest men in the world from Mexico, felt that this building was very good collateral. And you can see how wonderful it is. It's right next to the Port Authority for buses, very close to Times Square, very close to a lot of development. So it's really fascinating when you're in that New York Times building. But again, as people see, the newspaper industry is changing. And that raises many questions for the New York Times. That's why they've been very big on going digital. And they're really trying to go digital. And the problem is, how much money are they going to get from their digital edition versus how much money are they losing by a loss of subscribers for their print edition? That's the big dilemma for a lot of the publishing business right now. And they're still trying to figure out this changing world of the digital economy. But here, what we're seeing now is the assets from the print economy that helped build this beautiful building. You can see a closer look at some of the neighboring buildings too, just so that everyone gets an idea of what's around here. We'll take a look to the north. We're looking towards the north. We're looking toward the northeast, but now we're turning north, looking up 8th Avenue. It's a very crowded street on Friday in the evening around 7 o'clock.